Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account and says, would I be the arsehole if I hid my girlfriend's snake's death from her for a day? I really need help here. My 22 male girlfriend, 26 female, has a really rocky relationship with her family that she's been desperate to repair. There's been some improvements and she was invited to her brother's birthday party over 3 days in another country. His birthday party is tomorrow, which technically is only a few hours from now since it's so late at night for me in the moment. But I found out her old hognose is no longer alive. We knew he'd pass soon anyways, but it's still heartbreaking. I cried for a while, only stopped crying a little bit ago. Would it be wrong for me to not tell her? She's had the snake since she was 8 and has broken down for hours at a time thinking of losing him. I'm afraid if she finds out tomorrow, she might be inconsolable and wouldn't be able to enjoy her brother's birthday. And I don't want this to affect her relationship with her family or make amends more difficult if she doesn't attend his party or causing a scene there. I'm not planning on hiding his death forever or anything, just letting her know after the celebrations. I feel conflicted on it. If I'm wrong, please let me know. I don't want to be a bad boyfriend here, but I don't want to ruin a reunion with her brother. Bloody hell, this is a really difficult one, and I don't know if there's a perfect answer. I certainly don't have a perfect answer for it. Probably a really wrong one, but OP does sound like a good guy who's thinking of this from every possible angle, and whatever he chooses, I think his motivation seems to be protecting his girlfriend rather than avoiding an uncomfortable conversation. Personally, I think I might wait the day or a small amount of time that it is. And normally I would say you shouldn't hide the death of someone's pet from them. But this snake has been with her since she was 8. This isn't going to be a small upset. She's already broken down just thinking about losing him. And given what seems to be a complicated history with her family, I'm not sure I'd want her receiving that kind of news while she's in another country at an important family event where she might not have the support or the space where she needs to be herself and cry and do whatever she does need to do to grieve. I'd want her somewhere safe and comfortable and surrounded by people that would give her the support she needs when she heard it. And again, I can accept that's probably bad advice. I really don't know on this one. A commenter who was downvoted says, not the arsehole, but she'd probably feel betrayed if she found out you hid it from her. I think she'd appreciate it more if you told her immediately. Maybe some approach like, hey, I didn't want to ruin your mood before the celebrations, but that's just my opinion to be honest. Opie says, yeah, true. I'm just scared, I guess. I feel like I'm doing Gus dirty somehow. Don't know why. Commenter says, not the arsehole. As Esma said, well, he's not getting any deader. Jokes aside, I really am deeply sorry for your loss. If it were me, I'd be grateful to my partner for handling all the hard bits of taking care of the body, dismantling the setup, and just breaking it to me smoothly when I got back from my trip. Best of luck. A commenter replied and said, see, I got the impression that the snake doesn't live with them. Opie says, I don't want to sound rude, but where do you think he was? Comfortable Son says, no one's an arsehole here. We're in a tricky situation and there is no right answer. If you plan on telling her the snake died after the party, as in death and telling her, could you live with that secret? If you plan on telling her after the party that the snake died beforehand, is she going to appreciate, based on your knowledge of her, you making that decision for her? Opie says, I think if I don't tell her immediately, I have to be honest and tell her that I withheld the information. I think she has the right to know when I keep something from her, you know. Fearless says, man, what a tough situation. My 15-plus-year-old dog very recently passed away. I've also had him since I was very young. If anyone hid him passing from me, I'd feel so incredibly betrayed. I'm probably guilty for having a good time at a party, not knowing my friend was no longer alive at that time. It's such a tough situation, no matter what you decide to do, but I really do think you should tell her. When does she come back? Do you think she'll be okay? Not the best word I know. Finding out while she's not at home. Did you guys have a plan on what to do if you passed while she was away? I think right now it's not the arsehole. It's a very hard situation, no matter what you decide. I'm so sorry for your loss. Opie says she comes back in about 30-something hours. I know she'd be more devastated than I was, which I was very, and I might just risk the breakup if it means she has a better chance of having a good familial relationship. Big Fig says, okay, former reptile vet here. Are you sure it's dead? For reptiles, breathing is optional. You cannot say a snake is dead until it starts to smell. I'm not making this up. This is why post-surgically we put them under warming lamps, not just to help them recover. I realize this may be too late for you, but I hope it helps others. Do not use hot rocks. That goes for any reptiles. Hot rocks tend to induce thermal burns. But just because you do not see a reptile take a breath or feel a heartbeat does not mean it's dead. It could very well be alive. Wait until it starts to smell. OP replies saying, yeah, he's dead. So OP does come in with an update and says, I took into consideration what you people all said and decided I'd tell her when he passed, and I'd tell her I kept it from her. I didn't want to say my reasons for doing it because I didn't want her to internalize any responsibility for this. I was afraid she'd take some responsibility mentally for giving me a reason I felt I had to do it, even though she shouldn't. So I avoided it altogether. So I told her when I picked her up from the airport. I decided she should hear it in person and while I was there. I explained he passed already and I had kept it from her. The ride home was completely silent, and when we got home we put him in a box we had for this situation and buried him. The only thing she said to me was that she still loved me, but she didn't like me right now. I told her I understood, and if this was too far and she didn't want me around temporarily or permanently, I would understand. She nodded and we didn't do anything for a while until I made dinner and we both broke down at the table. Gus was a grumpy little dude, but I miss him and it's still hurting. I asked if I should sleep on the couch or something, and she just told me I'm a dead man if I sleep anywhere but in bed with her. So hopefully I can comfort her more. I don't regret what I did. If that means she hates me tomorrow morning and we're done, I can live with that, as long as she got to connect with her family again. I'm not sure what else I can say. So thank you for all the advice. Sorry to any of you who have advice I didn't take. Thank you for spending time to help a stranger out either way. All love for you all. You're sweet people. Stay helpful as ever. And the top commenter says to OP, give us some time to grieve. Personally, I think you did the right thing with the best intentions, and she'll probably realize that too once she's had a bit of time. And I'm so sorry for your loss. Sounds like Gus lived a very full life with so much love. OP says, I hope so. We certainly tried. God, I'm getting so emotional the older I get. When OP said Gus was a grumpy little dude, but I miss him and it's still hurting, I was just like, oh my word. Just fighting off those onion ninjas. But to OP and his partner, I am sorry for your loss. And like the commenter said, I'm sure Gus lived a very full life, surrounded by love from you guys. Certainly sounds like it. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? What would you have done if it was you? I think it's such an incredibly difficult situation, a lose-lose if you like. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now our next story is titled, I know my sister's 23 female boyfriend, 25 male, is cheating on her. I have proof, but he is threatening to tell her I broke something of hers that he paid to replace. Hi everyone, so I've never used Reddit before. I'm 15 and live in Pennsylvania with my sister. I technically am supposed to be living with my mum, but she is always away on business. I live with my sister 40 weeks out of the year. A while back I tripped over the step and I knocked the table. Unfortunately for me, she had a flower vase on the table and it fell and shattered. I was freaking out because it looked really expensive and I thought she would kill me. It was stupid, but I tried to fix it with super glue. I know, again, stupid, but I was panicking. Her boyfriend came home and he saw what had happened. He told me to calm down, we're just going to get another one. She got it from this online store and he ordered the exact same one from online. It cost $150. He told me once I get a job, I have to pay him back the money. 2 weeks ago, I went to use the computer and he was still logged into his Facebook. You know how when you get a message on Facebook and it pops up on your screen? That's what had happened, but it has been there for a while, if that makes sense. I read the message this woman sent and it said something about giving him a blowjob. I read through the messages and it was basically sexting, sending nudes, and there was even times to meet up. I took photos of the conversation with my cell phone. The more I started to think about it, the more I was put off telling my sister. I thought that I really had no proof he slept with her and I was not sure if this was cheating or not. It wasn't physically as far as I knew at the time. To my understanding, cheating is when you have sex with someone. 3 nights ago I came home and walked in on my sister's boyfriend making out with the same lady from Facebook. I arrived home earlier than I should have and he kind of freaked out. He told me not to tell my sister because I owed him one. He told me I still owed him money from the broken vase and my sister would be pissed at me for breaking it in the first place. He is not here at the moment. I'm upstairs in my room and my sister is downstairs with a friend. I don't know what to do. Bloody hell. Now, the cheating is obviously bad enough in this situation, but this man, this 25-year-old man, is trying to blackmail a 15-year-old kid into keeping his affair a secret over a vase that was broken accidentally. And he's taken what was his initial moment of kindness by replacing that vase so she doesn't get in trouble and turned it into ammunition, saying that you owe me, so keep quiet about me cheating on your sister. How manipulative is that? Maybe that was his plan all along, who knows? It's incredibly difficult for OP. OP's 15 years old and having to deal with this, but absolutely tell your sister everything. Show her the screenshots and admit to breaking the vase at the same time. I think if I was in the sister's position, the vase wouldn't worry me one single bit anyway, and I'd be absolutely pissed off that someone was manipulating my sister or my family member. Commenter says, $150 vase is nothing compared to knowing that your boyfriend is cheating on you. Also let her know that he's trying to blackmail you. This guy's a douche. Commenter says, hey, you don't have to pay him back when you tell your sister she dumps his ass. But a short time later, OP comes in with a small update and says thank you. I told my sister and showed her the proof. The short version of events is, she could care less about the vase. She was more upset about the blackmailing and cheating than anything. She rents her place. He just lives here like me. She texted him and told him not to bother coming home. If he comes, she will call the cops. Absolutely. And there was people talking about they can understand why a 15-year-old would be scared about revealing the information about the vase being broken, etc. because they're 15 years old. Probably all sorts of thoughts about getting in real trouble about that. And I've been in that situation myself, probably a little bit younger than that, but here we go. Cheeky little Mark waffle right here. I remember being in the back room in my house. Everyone was out of the house at the time, and my brother had a remote control car, and I had my beady little eyes on it for some time, thinking, oh, I'd love a little go on that. So everyone was out of the house and I was trying to get this thing going. I couldn't work out how to get the battery going. I eventually all got it together. And I can remember what it was. It was a Ford Mondeo touring car. And I was zooming it around the living room. There wasn't much space, so I barely had any runway. I thought about taking it outside, but I thought if I get caught, I am absolutely cooked. So I moved one of the chairs in the living room to give me a bit of a runway through another room. And it was perfect. And I didn't realize how fast this thing was. I went full speed and it went straight into the other room and into this glass display cabinet, and it shattered the glass at the end. And I absolutely shit my pants. And this wasn't no small glass panel. It was at least 2-3 feet high maybe. And I can remember the feelings of absolute panic at those moments. I remember our dog come walking in. It was a boxer dog, and she just looked at me like, you are dead, mate. At the same time, I was thinking, can I blame you? I didn't blame the dog at the end, honestly. What I did was, as soon as my parents walked in the door, I completely broke down and told them the truth. I got in a wee bit of trouble for that, but hey, I made it out the other side. But anyway, I've gone off on one as usual. What do you guys make of this situation? What would you do if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Neighbors from Hell subreddit, hell yeah, from TwinMum2298, and it says condo neighbor thinks everything is communal. About 2 years ago, we purchased a vacation condo in a complex near the beach that is mostly vacation rentals. 2 units in our pod of 6 have sold since we purchased. The pod has a storage area that is for use of all 6 units, and it is solely to store beach equipment. When we purchased, we were told that every unit just claims a spot and labels it, and all items with their unit number. This worked well until the newest unit was purchased. Husband and I are temporarily living in this condo while we build a house. We've discovered that new neighbor has installed a large cabinet in a storage area that is essentially their owner's closet for their unit. It takes up a lot of space, and they have also claimed wall space. In addition, someone, and we're pretty sure it was them based on when it occurred, added a shelving unit and put all beach chairs on the shelving unit and all boogie boards stacked on top. They then got a large bucket and put all beach umbrellas and tents in the bucket. I called COA Management Company about the excessive amount and misuse of space, but nothing has been done. I searched through, took our stuff back, and put it in our beach cart. I noticed that the unit across the hall from me did the same thing. A week later, I noticed owner's closet lock is open, so I think the actual owners are there, and suddenly everything is back on the shelf and in buckets. I took mine back again and also put neighbors back in their cart. This time they remained as I left them, so I thought issue was resolved. Last week, I ran into a cross-hall owners and found out that they've been having issues with new neighbors trying to make storage communal area longer than we were aware. And she's complained about them to COA Management Company, and nothing has changed. Then this past week there were renters in new unit who decided, despite being labelled for our units, they took my good chairs and a cross-hall neighbour's good chairs and my beach cart and my umbrella to the beach and returned everything to the storage unit covered in sand. Ooh, dearie me. I made husband go wash everything off. Meanwhile, a cross-hall neighbour got mad and left a note on the stairs telling them to please not use her stuff, so I did the same. I also moved my 3 best chairs to my deck and out of storage, which works temporarily but isn't a good long-term solution. Next day they left my stuff alone but still took hers, so she went up and told them in person to not use stuff that isn't labelled for the unit they are staying in. That beach stuff isn't communal. Next day I see them using her chairs again, so I made permanent signs to hang on storage door that said, please only use items labelled for unit in which you are occupying. I left town work and husband texted me when he got home from work that the signs were gone. These condos are an okay size to stay for a week's vacation, but living there full time for 4 months is tight for husband and I, so there really is nowhere to put my beach items in my unit. Plus, no matter what you do, there's still residual sand that would spread inside unit. Does anyone have any idea on how to deal with this? Since obviously management company who have owner's contact information isn't going to do anything. I don't have owner's contact information, and neighbours and I are pretty sure they're telling their renters to just help themselves to anything in storage room. Within the same post, Opie adds an update and says, I was out of town last week but took the really good suggestion of several of you and purchased a bike lock. Saturday when I arrived back in town, I wove it through the chairs, cart and spoke of umbrella and left it so the combo part was very obvious in front and could have been seen by anyone in the room. It's now Thursday and a new set of renters have moved into all condos, and so far so good that no one has taken or tried to use our stuff. I told a cross-hall neighbour and she had me send her photos of what we'd done. She's out of town for a few weeks but has ordered a bike lock to be sent to a cleaning company and is asking them to install one on her items when they clean the unit after current set of renters. So I wanted to thank everyone for the suggestions and let you know that it looks like a nice cheap bike lock has solved my issue. So Opie does come in with an update and says, I posted last month that hubby and I had temporarily moved into our vacation rental, and we and across hall owners were having issues with the upstairs condo having renters constantly using our stuff. First, I want to thank everyone who recommended the bike lock idea. It has now been a few weeks and we've had no more issues with our stuff getting taken. It's actually been a peaceful few weeks until this past weekend. Where we live, golf carts are legal to be driven on any road that has a speed limit under 35 miles per hour. So a lot of year round, residents own them as a second car instead of a car. A lot of vacationers rent them. In general, they aren't an issue. Friday night, hubby comes home from work late, and there's a rental golf cart parked in the grass in front of our unit, and the renter has walked across our deck and plugged the cart into charge into our outside outlet, because apparently it's okay to use my electric bill to charge their cart. If hubby hadn't worked late, we wouldn't have noticed until the next morning. As it was, we went out, unplugged the cart and threw the charging cord back onto the cart. We're sitting on couch drinking coffee and hear the guy upstairs on their deck complaining that the cart is unplugged and isn't charging. Then we hear him stomp downstairs and see him move the cart back to the parking lot. I'm just still wondering, who thinks it's okay to jump a curb, drive on grass, walk across someone else's deck and use their electricity to charge a golf cart? That sounds like it's absolutely infuriating and sounds like stuff happens all the time with these condos. It would drive me absolutely nuts. To go and plug your golf cart into someone else's electricity like that. It sounds from what Opie's written, it's obvious that it's someone else's deck, therefore someone else's electricity. So to go and do that and then get pissed off about it at the same time. Absolute cheeky bastards. But what about you guys? Have you ever had a nightmare neighbor? Don't forget to share your story on r/Mark Narrations. I'd love to do like a viewer special of nightmare neighbors. Oh, that would be great. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's have another story. Now our next story comes from Joint Witch, who says, am I the arsehole here for going no contact with my in-laws? I, 33 female, and my partner Leo, 37 male, have 3 children. 1 from my previous relationship and 2 with Leo. Leo sees all 3 as his, and we're in the process of him adopting our eldest girl. Leo's family has always had a problem with me. For context, his sister and mother are the main antagonists of this post. Both women have been pretty consistent in treating me poorly and usually in ways that most men wouldn't catch. A venom-filled statement here, an accusatory whisper to me when Leo leaves the room. His mother backs off slightly when he notices, but not his sister. The bigger issues I've had with them include, but are definitely not limited to, 1. Them hosting an intervention for him while I was pregnant with our first to try and convince him that I'd either cheated or got pregnant to force him to support me. To this day, they work into casual conversation about how they would help him when he finally decides to leave me. 2. My mother-in-law calling my grief disgusting in front of my children at a fancy restaurant for Christmas dinner that I had paid for entirely. The grief she was referring to had a miscarriage during our second pregnancy and decided to name and bury my angel baby beneath a tree of the same name. 3. My sister-in-law announcing loudly at a family gathering that she doesn't think we're caring for our autistic son's needs properly. We're doing everything we can, and his doctors agree that we're already going above and beyond. Shortly after that, she insisted that our children will never matter as much as her friends' children will. Leo and I agreed that, even though I'm personally going no contact, he should still bring the children to visit. However, he doesn't visit much at all for 2 reasons. Firstly, because our 3 children are quite a handful alone, and his family says they are there to visit, not babysit, so he has a hard time being there with them without me. Secondly, though more importantly, he hates how they treat me, and had cut contact until they can be better towards me. I say had because they recently changed. He's planning to take the children to his mother's this coming weekend. I told him to have fun, not in a sarcastic way, and that I'll be home cleaning up and taking a rest. Now he's conflicted because he wants me to come, but I really don't feel supported or respected in that house. So Reddit, am I the asshole for going no contact with my in-laws? Should I just suck it up like a couple of my friends have suggested? I try to answer any questions I can to clear up things if I need to. One of the commenters quoted OP saying, Leo and I agree that, even though I'm personally going no contact, he should still bring the children to visit. And then says, then you're both permitting the abuse of your children because you are cowards. Another commenter says, not the arsehole, you have a husband problem. Your husband needs to grasp that your children will pick up on the poison your in-laws put down, and it will affect you and your family negatively. Absolutely with that comment on being a husband problem too. You know, the in-laws are absolutely awful people that I would never want to be around, but after an intervention accusing her of cheating, insulting her over the way she grieved her miscarriage, criticizing their parenting and repeatedly talking about him eventually leaving her, I don't really understand why OP is being the one asked to reconsider her boundaries. And it sounds like Leo apparently cut contact because he hated how they treated his wife, but now he's taken the children back and wants OP to come along too. So what's changed here? Because nothing that's been suggested in this post says that his family has apologized or changed their own behavior. It sounds more just like enough time has passed and he's expecting it to just reset by itself. And I certainly wouldn't want the kids around these children either. If these people are openly disrespecting their mother and their relationship, why should they be getting access to the children? Not to punish them or be manipulative in any way, but why would you want your kids around this kind of poison that's being told? And they absolutely will do it. But OP does update their post and says thank you all for every comment, supportive and critical. I read each and every one and heard you, Leo especially. He was pretty shocked, but recognized that a lot of what he read wasn't inaccurate and admitted he didn't realize that he was doing so much harm. We're going to therapy together next month. We've booked the date already. We decided that it would be me, so I broke the silence to reach out to my mother-in-law. I sent her one very non-emotional, I hope, message. It read exactly as shown below. Leo stands much more firmly with me now, I believe, and we are united in agreeing that the children matter most, and the very real risk of his family saying poisonous things is not something either of us is willing to take. Names below are changed for privacy reasons, but the real name was used in the text. Hi, mother-in-law. Leo let me know you are hoping to see the children during his upcoming parenting time. We will not be arranging a visit at this time. As the parents, our priority is providing a healthy environment for the children to protect their emotional well-being. We have a strict boundary against them being exposed to open criticism or disrespect towards either of their parents. Because of this boundary has been repeatedly crossed in front of the children, we cannot trust that a neutral environment will be maintained. Visits will remain on hold until we see a sustained positive change in how our family is treated. Moving forward, all further inquiries, updates, or communication regarding this matter must be directed to Leo. Please do not contact me directly about this moving forward. Then says, thank you all again. I feel our family is going to do well with our newfound unity and peace. Now, the update had me a bit conflicted, I gotta be honest. The therapy is definitely a positive step, and I'm glad that Leo seems to have recognized how much damage he's doing in this. But what I didn't like is that OP was the one who had to send that message. This is his mother and his sister, and OP was already no contact because of how they've treated her. And part of that fixing surely should involve Leo taking responsibility for managing his own family at this point, rather than his wife having to break her no contact to then re-establish a boundary that he should be the one enforcing. I kind of just feel like in some ways it's just given them more ammunition in the end. And I wonder in the future, is Leo actually going to stand up to them? That would be my biggest worry, because you'd have thought he'd have been insisting himself on sending that message in the first place. But who knows? But this is the point where I turn it to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it is absolutely amazing. And hopefully, I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.